Let me tell you something that nobody else will tell you. The reason you're still broke isn't because you don't know enough about trading. It's not because you haven't found the right strategy yet. And it's definitely not because you need to buy another course from some guru on Instagram showing you screenshots of his supposed trades. You're broke because your mindset is broken. And until you fix what's going on between your ears, no strategy on earth is going to save you. I know that's harsh. I know you probably didn't click on this video to get called out like that. But if you want the real truth, the truth that can actually change your life, then you need to hear this. Because right now, you're probably doing exactly what I did when I first started. You're jumping from strategy to strategy. You're watching video after video. You're convinced that the next piece of information will be the one that finally makes it all click. But here's what's really happening. You're stuck in a trap, a psychological trap that's been carefully designed to keep you spending money on courses, signals, and mentorships while never actually making consistent profits yourself. And the worst part? You don't even realize you're in it. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what this trap looks like, how to escape it, and most importantly, how to develop the mindset that actually separates broke traders from millionaires. And I promise you, by the end of this, you're going to see trading and yourself in a completely different light. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth. The trading education industry is full of scammers. I'm not saying everyone teaching trading is a scam artist, but the percentage is higher than you think. And here's how you can spot them immediately. They show you their wins, but never their losses. They post screenshots of massive gains with captions like, "Another easy 500 pips," or "Just made $10,000 in one trade." They're always standing in front of rented Lamborghinis or holding stacks of cash. They promise you that if you just buy their course for $997, you'll be making six figures within months. And you know what? You believed them. Or at least part of you wanted to believe them. Because that's exactly what you're desperate for. A shortcut. A magic formula. Someone who can just hand you the keys to wealth without you having to go through the painful process of actually learning how markets work. But here's the reality check you need right now. Those people aren't making their money from trading. They're making their money from you. From selling you courses, signals, and dreams. The real money for them isn't in the markets. It's in your wallet, and they're very, very good at getting you to hand it over. Now you might be thinking, okay, but not everyone teaching trading is a scammerist, right? And you're correct. But here's where the mindset shift needs to happen. Even if you find a legitimate educator who actually trades and has real results, buying their course won't make you profitable. Because knowledge isn't your problem. Your psychology is your problem. And that's the bridge to understanding why mindset matters more than anything else. Here's the first major mindset shift you need to make, and it's going to sting a little. You need to stop blaming external factors for your failures. The market isn't out to get you. Your broker isn't hunting your stop losses, well, most of the time. The big banks aren't specifically targeting your tiny account. The reason you're losing is because of the decisions you are making. The reason you overtrade is because you can't control your impulses. The reason you revenge trade after a loss is because you haven't developed emotional discipline. The reason you keep buying courses instead of practicing with what you already know is because you are avoiding the hard work of self-mastery. I know that sounds brutal, but this is actually the most empowering realization you can have. Because if your failures are your fault, that means your successes can also be your achievement. You're not a victim of circumstances. You're not unlucky. You're simply making poor decisions, and decisions can be changed.
Millionaire traders don't blame the market when they lose. They don't make excuses. They don't say, the market was choppy today, or there wasn't enough volume. They look at their trade, they analyze what went wrong, and they take full responsibility for the outcome. This is the foundation of growth. This is where transformation begins. When you start taking 100% responsibility for every trade you take, win or lose, you shift from being a victim to being a creator. You stop giving your power away to external circumstances, and you start building the internal discipline that actually generates consistent profits. And trust me, this shift alone will do more for your trading than any $2,000 course ever could. Now let's talk about something that every broke trader struggles with: patience. You want results now. You want to turn your $100 into $10,000 by next month. You want to quit your job and trade full-time within a year. And because you want it so badly, you're willing to take shortcuts. You overtrade because you can't stand waiting for the perfect setup. You risk too much on a single trade because you're trying to grow your account faster. You jump into trades based on emotion rather than following your plan because you're impatient for the next win. But here's what millionaire traders understand that you don't yet. Trading is a marathon, not a sprint. The traders who make life-changing money aren't the ones who blow up their accounts trying to double their money every week. They're the ones who consistently make small gains, protect their capital, and let compound growth do the heavy lifting over time. Think about it this way. If you started with $100 and made just 5% per month, consistently, do you know where you'd be in 3 years? You'd have over $500. That doesn't sound impressive, right? But now imagine you started with $10,000 and made that same 5% consistently. In 3 years, you'd have over $50,000. And if you started with $100,000, pause, you'd have over $500,000. The magic isn't in making huge percentage gains. It's in consistency and time. But consistency requires patience. It requires you to take only the best setups. It requires you to sit on your hands when there's nothing good to trade. It requires you to be okay with having boring trading days where nothing happens. Most traders can't handle that. They get bored. They start forcing trades. And that's exactly when they lose money. But once you develop the patience to wait for your edge, once you're comfortable doing nothing when the market isn't giving you clear opportunities, you've unlocked one of the most powerful weapons in trading. Patience isn't passive. It's not weak. It's strategic, disciplined, and incredibly profitable. Millionaires understand this. Broke traders don't.
Here's something you've probably heard 1,000 times, but never truly internalized. Your number one job as a trader is to protect your capital. Not to make money, not to hit home runs, but to not lose. Every single broke trader I've ever met has the same disease. They're obsessed with winning, and they completely ignore the importance of not losing. They take massive risks because they're chasing big gains. They don't use stop losses because they know the market will come back. They hold losing positions way too long, hoping for a reversal. And then one day, they take a trade that wipes out 30%, 50%, maybe even 80% of their account. And now they're in a hole that's almost impossible to climb out of. Because here's the math nobody talks about. If you lose 50% of your account, you need to make 100% just to get back to break even. If you lose 80%, you need to make 400% to recover. Do you see the problem? But millionaire traders think differently. They're paranoid about losses. They risk small amounts on each trade, typically 1 to 2% of their total account. They use stop losses religiously. They cut losses quickly and let winners run. They understand that the name of the game isn't about hitting home runs. It's about staying in the game long enough for compound growth to work its magic. I want you to think about this for a second. If you have a $1,000 account and you risk 10% per trade, Just 3 losing trades in a row drops you down to $729. You've lost 27% of your account. But if you risk 1% per trade, you could have 10 losing trades in a row, and you'd still have $904 left. You'd only be down 9.6%. Which trader do you think has a better chance of long-term success? The one who's swinging for the fences and blowing up their account every few months? Or the one who's playing defense, protecting their capital, and giving themselves the maximum number of chances to succeed? This is the mindset shift that changes everything. Stop trying to get rich quick. Start trying to not go broke. Ironically, once you adopt this defensive mindset, profitability becomes inevitable because you're eliminating the catastrophic mistakes that kill most traders. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. You know what you're supposed to do. You know you should follow your trading plan. You know you should manage your risk. You know you shouldn't revenge trade after a loss. But you keep doing it anyway. Why? Because you haven't mastered your emotions, and until you do, no strategy will save you. Trading is one of the most psychologically demanding activities you can do. Every trade triggers your fear and greed. Every loss threatens your ego. Every win tempts you to get overconfident. And if you're not aware of these emotional triggers, they will sabotage you every single time. Here's what happens to most traders. They take a loss. That loss makes them feel bad, maybe angry, maybe embarrassed, maybe scared. To make that negative feeling go away, they immediately jump into another trade. They're not trading based on their strategy anymore. They're trading to soothe their emotions. And that's when they lose even more money. Or they have a big win. They feel invincible. They think they finally figured it out. So they start taking bigger risks, trading more frequently, breaking their rules. And then they give back all their gains and then some. Millionaire traders have learned to separate their emotions from their trading decisions. They don't trade to feel good. They don't trade to prove something to themselves or others. They trade based on their plan. Period. Win or lose, their emotional state remains stable because they've internalized that any single trade is just one data point in a long series of probabilities. This is incredibly difficult to develop, but it's non-negotiable if you want to succeed. You need to build emotional awareness. You need to notice when you're trading from fear or greed. You need to have rules for when you stop trading if you're tilted. You need to separate your self-worth from your trading results. This is the inner game of trading, and it's the game that actually matters.
So where does this leave you? You understand now that you've probably been wasting time and money chasing strategies when the real work is psychological. You understand that scammers are everywhere and that even legitimate education won't help if your mindset is broken. You understand that responsibility, patience, capital protection, and emotional discipline are the real foundations of trading success. So what do you actually do with this information? First, stop buying courses. I'm serious. You probably already know enough to be profitable. What you need isn't more information. It's more practice implementing what you already know with the right psychology. Second, start small. If you're trading with money you can't afford to lose, you're already sabotaging yourself psychologically. Trade with tiny amounts or even use a demo account until you can prove consistency. Third, keep a trading journal that focuses on your psychology, not just your trades. After every trade, write down how you felt before, during, and after. Write down whether you followed your plan. Write down what emotional triggers came up. This awareness is what leads to change. Fourth, develop a routine that puts you in the right mental state before you trade. Maybe that's meditation. Maybe that's exercise. Maybe that's reviewing your rules. But have something that centers you and reminds you what kind of trader you want to be. And finally, measure your success differently. Stop measuring success by how much money you made this week. Start measuring it by whether you followed your process. Did you only take trades that met your criteria? Did you manage your risk properly? Did you maintain emotional discipline? If yes, then that's a successful trading period regardless of the P&L. Here's the secret that nobody wants to tell you because it doesn't sell courses. Becoming a profitable trader is simple, but it's not easy. The skills you need to develop, patience, discipline, emotional control, and responsibility, are simple to understand, but incredibly difficult to implement consistently. This is why most traders fail, not because they don't understand support and resistance or candlestick patterns. They fail because they can't master themselves. They can't sit on their hands when there's no setup. They can't take a small loss without spiraling into revenge trading. They can't resist the temptation to overtrade when they're bored. But if you can develop these psychological skills, if you can become the kind of person who does the right thing even when it's uncomfortable, even when your emotions are screaming at you to do something else, then you will make money in trading. It's inevitable. The mindset shift from broke trader to millionaire trader isn't about finding better strategies. It's about becoming a better person. It's about developing character traits that serve you not just in trading, but in every area of your life. So stop looking for shortcuts. Stop blaming external factors. Stop buying courses from scammers promising easy money. Instead, commit to the hard work of self-mastery. Commit to developing patience, discipline, and emotional control. Commit to protecting your capital and playing the long game. Do that, and you won't just become a profitable trader. You'll become the kind of person who succeeds at whatever they set their mind to. And that's worth far more than any trading profit could ever be.